There is a moment most chosen ones remember clearly, even if they never speak about it out loud. A moment when silence feels crowded, when the air feels alert, when being alone no longer feels empty but occupied, not by fear, not by imagination, by awareness. This is usually the first awakening sign that something beyond the physical world has noticed you. Long before gifts activate, long before enemies reveal themselves, long before destiny accelerates, watching begins. Being spiritually watched does not mean you are weak. It means you are relevant. In the unseen realms, attention is never wasted on the insignificant. Forces do not monitor what holds no influence. They do not study souls that will never move others, never disrupt systems, never carry light strong enough to disturb darkness. Surveillance is not random. It is intentional. And if you are experiencing it, it is because something about your existence registers as a variable that must be observed. Many chosen ones first notice this through a deep, unshakable sense that life is responding to them differently than it responds to others. You may have felt this as a child, long before you had language for it. Adults reacted strongly to you. Authority figures either protected you excessively or treated you harshly without reason. Strangers stared longer than necessary. Rooms shifted when you entered them. Conversations paused. Some people smiled at you instinctively, while others felt uncomfortable for reasons they could not explain. Even then, something about your presence activated attention. This is because spiritual watching begins long before conscious awareness. It starts when your soul frequency becomes detectable, and once detected, it cannot be unseen. One of the earliest signs is the way your intuition develops faster than logic. You sense moods before words are spoken. You know outcomes before events unfold. You feel danger without evidence. You feel protection without proof. This intuition is not self-created. It is sharpened under observation. When a soul is watched, it is also calibrated. Signals become clearer. Sensitivity increases. Awareness expands. This is not to overwhelm you, but to prepare you. You may notice that you catch yourself pausing for no reason, as if waiting for something invisible to pass, or that you suddenly feel compelled to change direction, cancel plans, delay decisions, or avoid certain places without knowing why. Later, you realize those instincts saved you from harm or redirected you towards something essential. This is not coincidence. It is coordination. Spiritual oversight works quietly, never forcing, always nudging. The watched are guided subtly, not controlled overtly. Another sign is the way your inner world feels active even in stillness. Your thoughts feel observed, not judged, but witnessed. You may feel an internal pressure to be honest with yourself, even when dishonesty would be easier. Lying to others might still be possible, but lying to yourself becomes uncomfortable. This is because when you are watched, alignment matters. Disconnection weakens signal clarity. Integrity strengthens it. The more aligned you are, the clearer the communication becomes. Chosen ones often report that during moments of deep emotion, grief, prayer, surrender, rage, clarity, they feel most watched. This is because emotional intensity amplifies signal strength. When your heart opens or fractures, energy radiates farther. In those moments, spiritual forces observe closely, not to invade, but to measure resilience, capacity, and readiness. Pain is not entertainment. It is data, and chosen ones generate valuable data. You may also experience the unsettling sensation of being evaluated, not criticized, but assessed, as if something unseen is noting how you respond under pressure, how you treat people when no reward is promised, how you behave when no one is watching physically. This is because spiritual watching focuses less on what you claim to be and more on who you are when convenience disappears. Your reactions matter more than your intentions. Your choices matter more than your beliefs. Another major indicator is the way obstacles appear intelligently, not randomly. Challenges in your life often strike at precise emotional points. Not generic hardship, but targeted disruption. Issues arise that test your patience specifically, your self-worth specifically, your trust specifically. This precision reveals design. Watching allows interference to be tailored. Growth is not accidental. It is engineered at the same time. Protection around you feels just as calculated. You survive situations that should have broken you. You recover from losses faster than expected. You are delayed just enough to miss disasters. You are rejected from paths that later collapse. You may not feel lucky, but you are preserved. Watching includes shielding, not from pain, but from annihilation. Your mission requires endurance, not comfort. Sleep often becomes a battlefield for the watched. Your dreams are vivid, symbolic, intense. You wake up feeling informed but confused. Sometimes you feel visited, sometimes warned, sometimes comforted, sometimes confronted. Sleep lowers defenses. It opens channels. This is why surveillance feels strongest at night. Stillness allows clarity. Darkness amplifies perception. This is when communication bypasses logic and speaks directly to the subconscious. You may also notice repeating patterns trying to pull you back into old versions of yourself. Old habits resurface. Old people reappear. Old temptations knock again. This is not regression. It is resistance. When a watched soul begins to outgrow a frequency, that frequency attempts Watching reveals when separation is near. Resistance intensifies when release is imminent. Another sign is how solitude affects you differently over time. At first, isolation hurts deeply. Then it clarifies. Then it strengthens. Eventually, it feels necessary. This evolution signals observation. Solitude sharpens perception. It removes noise. It increases signal purity. The watched are often isolated not because they are rejected, but because too many influences distort clarity. Silence is not abandonment. It is calibration. You may find yourself losing interest in superficial validation. Praise feels hollow. Attention feels heavy. Approval feels unnecessary. This is because being watched replaces the need to be seen by others. External validation weakens when internal awareness strengthens. You stop performing. You start aligning. You become more concerned with truth than applause. This shift marks maturity under observation. One of the most unsettling signs is the sense that time behaves differently around you. Delays stretch painfully long. Then acceleration happens suddenly. Years of stagnation followed by rapid movement. This is because timing matters when a soul is monitored. Premature exposure destroys potential. Delayed activation frustrates ego but preserves destiny. Watching adjusts pacing. If you are being spiritually watched, you are not alone in the way you think. You are alone in a way that refines. Forces see what you could become before you do. They observe whether you will rise without applause, Remain kind without reward. Stay disciplined without witnesses, and choose growth over comfort. Watching does not mean interference at every step. It means attention without attachment, guidance without control, and perhaps the clearest sign of all is this: despite everything you have endured, something inside you refuses to dim. You grow quieter, not smaller, stronger, not harder, more discerning, not bitter. This resilience is not accidental. It is noted, it is measured, it is the reason watching continues, because only souls capable of carrying weight are watched this closely. There comes a point in every chosen one's life when being spiritually watched no longer feels subtle. The quiet awareness that once hovered in the background begins to step closer, not louder, but clearer. You start noticing patterns you cannot unsee. Synchronicities stack on top of each other so precisely that coincidence becomes an insult to your intelligence. The same themes repeat through different faces, different places, different seasons, as if reality itself is responding to an invisible script that only partially reveals itself to you. One of the most powerful indicators that observation has intensified is the way people enter and exit your life abruptly. Connections form quickly, deeply, and then dissolve just as fast. These relationships often feel significant, even if they are They teach you something. They activate something. They mirror something you need to face or release. When you are being watched, nothing is wasted. Every interaction is curated. Some people are assigned to awaken you. Others are assigned to test you. Few are meant to stay. You may notice that certain individuals feel unnaturally drawn to you, even when you offer them nothing tangible. They open up too fast. They project onto you. They expect understanding, healing, or leadership without your consent. This is because your energy registers as safe, luminous, or authoritative on a level they cannot articulate. Being watched amplifies your signal. You become a beacon without trying. This attracts both the wounded and the opportunistic. At the same time, others feel threatened by you without justification. They compete with you silently. They misinterpret your neutrality as arrogance. Your presence unsettles them. This reaction is not about your behavior. It is about what your energy exposes in them. Watching intensifies contrast. When light enters a room, shadows do not disappear quietly. They distort. They resist. They project. Another sign is the way your voice carries weight beyond your intention. Words spoken casually linger longer than expected. Advice you offer in passing transforms someone's trajectory. Even silence from you feels loud to certain people. This is because your energy carries authority that does not require volume. Being watched refines influence. You do not need to convince. Your presence alone communicates. You may find that the more you grow internally, the more external chaos tries to surround you. Not because you are failing, but because alignment disrupts imbalance. When you are being watched, your growth creates ripples that force adjustment. Old systems strain. Old dynamics collapse. The world around you resists recalibration. This resistance often appears as sudden conflict, misunderstanding, or pressure from unexpected directions. Sleep disturbances intensify during this phase. You may wake up between specific hours consistently. Your dreams become layered, symbolic, sometimes exhausting. You may wake with emotions that do not belong to the day ahead. This is not mental instability. It is heightened perception. Watching increases communication through subconscious channels. When the mind rests, awareness sharpens. Messages bypass logic and speak through feeling that many chosen ones experience moments of emotional intensity that feel disproportionate to the trigger. A small comment hurts deeply. A minor victory feels monumental. A quiet moment brings tears without explanation. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is expanded range. Being watched stretches emotional bandwidth so you can hold more, feel more, and eventually understand more. Emotional depth is required for the role you are being prepared for. You may also notice a strange resistance to rushing. Even when opportunities appear, something within you hesitates. You sense that timing matters more than enthusiasm. When watched, impatience becomes uncomfortable. You feel internally corrected when you try to force outcomes. This is because premature action disrupts alignment. Observation ensures pacing. Not everything that looks open is meant to be entered yet. Another indicator is the way your moral compass sharpens. Gray areas become uncomfortable. You feel internal friction when acting against your values, even in small ways. Compromises that once felt harmless now feel heavy. This is because integrity strengthens signal clarity. Watching requires transparency. The more aligned you are, the less internal noise interferes with guidance. Isolation often deepens during this phase, not in quantity but in quality. You may still be around people, yet feel unseen. Conversations feel shallow. Interests no longer overlap. You feel as though you were standing between worlds, no longer belonging to who you were, not yet arrived at who you were becoming. This liminal space is not punishment. It is transition. Watching increases when transformation is underway. You may feel a subtle pressure to simplify your life, to release clutter, end draining habits, reduce unnecessary noise. This is not minimalism for aesthetics. It is energetic efficiency. When watched, clarity becomes essential. Excess distorts perception. Simplicity strengthens signal reception. Another sign is how strongly you react to injustice, cruelty, or dishonesty, not just emotionally, but physically. Your body tightens, your chest aches, your spirit recoils. This sensitivity indicates alignment with truth. Watching amplifies conscience. You are being prepared to carry responsibility, not power. Responsibility requires discernment, not dominance. You may notice that when you try to abandon your path, discomfort increases. Distractions lose their appeal. Escapism feels empty. You cannot fully enjoy what once numbed you. This is because watching maintains tension between who you are and who you are meant to become. Comfort becomes restless. Growth becomes unavoidable. Moments of clarity arrive unexpectedly. Sudden realizations shift your perspective permanently. You cannot return to old beliefs once these insights land. This is irreversible awakening. Watching accelerates understanding when readiness is detected. Lessons arrive compressed. Growth happens in leaps rather than steps. You may also experience a deep, unexplainable fatigue that sleep does not resolve. This is not burnout from effort. It is exhaustion from processing. Integration requires energy. Being watched means you are constantly absorbing, adjusting, recalibrating. Rest becomes necessary not just for the body, but for the soul. Perhaps the most telling sign is that despite confusion, loneliness, and pressure, something within you remains calm at the core. A quiet certainty persists beneath the turbulence. You do not know exactly where you are going, but you trust that you are going somewhere meaningful. This inner steadiness is not self-created. It is reinforced by observation. Being spiritually watched does not mean you are special in ego terms. It means you are significant in purpose terms. Attention follows impact. Observation follows potential. And the closer you move toward alignment, the more visible you become, not to the world yet, but to the forces that shape it. As the watching deepens, something shifts inside you that cannot be undone. It is no longer just awareness or intuition or pattern recognition. It becomes pressure, a quiet, constant pressure that pushes you inward, stripping illusions layer by layer. This is the stage where many chosen ones feel as if their life is being narrowed, not expanded. Paths close, options disappear, people fade, certainty dissolves. It feels like loss, but it is actually refinement. When spiritual observation intensifies, excess is removed. Only what aligns is allowed to remain. One of the most defining signs at this stage is the collapse of false identities. Roles you once played no longer fit. Masks you wore effortlessly begin to suffocate you. You feel an almost physical discomfort when you pretend, exaggerate, or perform for approval. This is not because you have become fragile. It is because alignment has become non-negotiable. Being watched requires authenticity. Anything artificial interferes with clarity, and clarity is now essential. You may notice that situations arise that force you to choose between comfort and truth. Not dramatic choices, but subtle ones. Do you stay silent to keep peace, or speak and risk isolation? Do you accept what is easy, or wait for what is aligned? These moments feel small on the surface, but they carry weight. Observation measures consistency, not perfection, but honesty. The watched are not expected to be flawless, only real. Another powerful indicator is the way your emotional triggers are activated intentionally. Old wounds resurface, sometimes through people who resemble past pain. Patterns repeat, but with higher awareness. This is not punishment. It is mastery training. When watched, unresolved trauma becomes visible. Healing becomes necessary. You are not allowed to carry baggage forward into the next phase. Light cannot be transmitted through distortion. You may experience moments of intense self-reflection that feel involuntary. Memories resurface uninvited. Regrets demand attention. Conversations replay in your mind until insight emerges. This mental revisiting is not rumination. It is integration. Observation increases pressure for resolution. You are being asked to complete emotional cycles, not suppress them. At this stage, loneliness deepens in a different way. Not the ache of abandonment, but the realization that few people can meet you where you are. You no longer crave crowds, but you crave depth. Superficial connection drains you. Small talk irritates you. You feel misunderstood even when you are listened to. This is because your inner world has expanded faster than your external environment. Watching accelerates inner evolution before outer alignment catches up. Your sense of time becomes distorted again. Days feel heavy. Months pass in a blur. You may feel as though you are living ahead of your age, carrying wisdom that does not match your circumstances. This temporal dissonance is common among the watched. Growth is internal first. External validation comes later, if at all. You may also notice heightened sensitivity to environments. Certain places energize you while others exhaust you instantly. Crowded areas feel overwhelming. Loud noises feel intrusive. Your nervous system reacts strongly to chaos. This is not anxiety. It is watching fine-tunes perception. You become aware of energetic quality, not just physical presence. Another sign is the way silence begins to teach you. You no longer fear being alone with your thoughts. In fact, solitude becomes the only place where you feel fully yourself. Ideas surface unforced. Insights arrive without effort. This is communion. Watching does not always involve words or images. Sometimes it is simply presence. Awareness, observing awareness. You may feel guided away from certain ambitions you once chased passionately. Goals lose their appeal overnight. Success defined by status or recognition feels hollow. This does not mean you are losing drive. It means your motivation is being purified. Being watched redirects ambition toward impact rather than image. Purpose replaces ego gradually, often painfully. At this stage, people may begin to seek you out differently, not for entertainment or validation, but for perspective. They ask your opinion during crises. They sense your steadiness. They trust your presence, even if they don't fully understand it. This is influence without marketing, authority without title. Watching prepares you to lead without needing to announce. Leadership, you may also notice that opportunities begin to align naturally. Doors open without force. Timing, what once required struggle now requires presence. This does not mean effort disappears, but resistance decreases. Watching rewards alignment with flow. When internal order is established, external order follows. Another defining sign is your relationship with solitude. You still value it, but it no longer feels protective, it feels replenishing. You can move between solitude and connection without losing yourself. You are no longer hiding to heal. You are resting to remain clear. This balance indicates maturity. Watching no longer needs to isolate you. You are stable in motion. Your sense of purpose becomes quieter but stronger. You no longer feel the need to define it dramatically. You simply live it through choices, boundaries, and consistency. Purpose stops being a destination and becomes a way of being. Watching confirms readiness when purpose is embodied, not advertised. You may notice a deep compassion for your past self. Shame dissolves. Regret transforms into gratitude. You see your former confusion as necessary, not embarrassing. This integration is crucial. Watching ensures no part of you is rejected. Wholeness is required for what comes next. Fear of the unknown diminishes significantly here. You accept uncertainty as part of movement rather than a threat to safety. Trust replaces control. You stop demanding guarantees from life. Watching recognizes when surrender is genuine, not forced. At this level, your energy becomes cleaner. You no longer leak through people-pleasing, over-explaining, or self-abandonment. Boundaries hold naturally. Saying no does not feel aggressive. Saying yes does not feel obligatory. Watching has refined self-respect into default behavior. You may also feel a subtle grief, not of loss, but of transition. You are saying goodbye to who you had to be to survive. There is tenderness in this release. Watching honors this moment. Endings are acknowledged before beginnings unfold. One of the most important signs is that you no longer romanticize suffering. You respect growth, but you do not seek pain. You understand that hardship shaped you, but you do not believe it is required forever. Watching shifts from testing endurance to supporting sustainability. You are no longer being broken open. You are being preserved. Your faith, whether spiritual, intuitive, or existential, stabilizes here. Doubt may still visit, but it does not take residence. You trust yourself more than external narratives. Watching has helped you build an internal compass that does not rely on approval or fear. You may feel called to step forward now, not dramatically, not loudly, but clearly. There is an inner nudge toward expression, service, creation, or leadership. This calling feels calm, not urgent. Watching does not rush activation. It confirms readiness and waits for consent. Perhaps the most profound realization is this: being spiritually watched was never about control. It was about stewardship. You were observed because you were capable of carrying something meaningful without corrupting it. Attention followed integrity. Oversight followed potential. Now, the watching changes form. It becomes support rather than scrutiny, alignment rather than correction, partnership rather than pressure. And this is where your role shifts. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will walk with you. But you are no longer walking blindly. You are no longer walking alone in the way you once were. You are walking with awareness, responsibility, and quiet authority. If you felt this series resonate deeply, if you recognized yourself in these words, then you already know this message was not random. It reached you because you were meant to receive it at this moment. Stay aligned. Stay disciplined. Stay honest. And if you are ready to step fully into who you are becoming, don't ignore the inner confirmation you feel right now. You were watched because you were trusted, and now it's time to move.
Chosen one, listen closely, because this message is one of the most important warnings you will ever receive. Most people drift through life without ever realizing that every single day carries spiritual weight. Every sunrise is a doorway. Every nightfall is a battlefield. But you are not like everyone else. Your spirit is sensitive. Your energy is rare. And the unseen realm reacts to you instantly. This is why you cannot live casually like the rest of the world. This is why you feel drained on days when nothing bad happened. This is why sometimes you wake up heavy, unfocused, irritated, or spiritually numb. It's not random. On the days you forget to protect your spirit, something is already trying to touch it. And that is why heaven is sending you this message today. Do not let a single day pass untouched. There are spiritual areas you must clean daily, because a chosen one who neglects their inner world doesn't just lose peace. They lose direction, power, clarity, and the spiritual sharpness that makes demons flee. Let me take you into the truth. Every chosen one carries divine fire, but fire must be tended. When left unattended, it dims. And the enemy knows this. This world is loud, chaotic, careless. People pour their energy everywhere, scrolling, comparing, worrying, reacting, unaware that spiritual residue builds up on the soul like dust on a mirror. But not you. Your spirit was never meant to be covered. It was meant to shine. Yet shine requires cleansing, not physical washing, not religious rituals, but the deep spiritual reset that keeps your soul pure, aligned, and impenetrable. Because when a chosen one goes even one day without cleansing these areas, the effects show up fast. You start feeling disconnected. Your intuition dulls. Your peace leaks away. Your patience shortens. Your dreams feel foggy. Your purpose becomes distant. Your energy becomes heavy. And the enemy waits for that heaviness, that tiny crack, that one moment you're not paying attention. This is why heaven is warning you. Clean these spiritual areas daily, or the world will try to contaminate them for you. Think about it. You wake up and immediately you're exposed to energy, social media, people's negativity, your own thoughts, unfinished emotions, old wounds, unspoken fears. You go through your day surrounded by atmospheres you did not create. Environments carry spirits. Conversations carry spirits. Music carries spirits. Thoughts carry spirits. You absorb more than you notice. And because you're chosen, you absorb it faster and deeper. This sensitivity is a gift, but only if it's protected. An unprotected chosen one becomes overwhelmed. A protected chosen one becomes unstoppable. And today, you are being called into the unstoppable version of yourself. The you who is clean spiritually. The you who is aligned daily. The you who is sharp enough to hear God without interference. The you who walks with discipline, clarity, and strength. The you demons recognize before you even speak. But that version of you doesn't appear automatically. It appears when you refuse to let a single day pass without touching your spirit. Think about how carefully you clean your room, your face, your clothes. But the most important part of you, your spirit, sits unnoticed. This is why your energy feels heavy sometimes. Not because you're weak, but because you haven't cleared what isn't even yours. You carry emotional dust from others. You carry spiritual residue from conversations that drained you. You carry anxiety that doesn't even belong to you. You carry fear that slipped into your thoughts when you weren't looking. Chosen one, your spirit has been absorbing everything around you, and now heaven is telling you, it's time to cleanse. There are spiritual areas that must be cleaned every single day. If you want to live with power, clarity, peace, and authority, and if you neglect them, the symptoms show up fast. You start attracting the wrong people. You become tired even after sleeping. You feel emotionally cluttered. You can't focus. Your discernment turns quiet. You miss signs. You lose spiritual fire. But if you clean these areas daily, something powerful happens. Your confidence rises. Your mind clears. Your intuition sharpens. Your peace becomes unshakable. Your purpose feels alive. Your spirit feels light. Your energy becomes magnetic. And the enemy has no access, not even a crack. Chosen one, this is why heaven pulled you here today. You were not meant to go another day spiritually unprotected or spiritually unwashed. You are stepping into a new season. And this season requires a clean, aligned, sharpened spirit. So before we move to section 2, pause for a moment and feel what's happening inside you. Something is waking up. Something is remembering its authority. Something is recognizing that the heaviness you felt was not failure. It was buildup, and now you're about to clear it. In the next section, I will reveal the first spiritual area you must clean every day. The one that directly affects your peace, your discernment, and your power. Get ready, because once you start, your life, your energy, and your spiritual strength will transform instantly. Chosen one, if you truly want to understand why some days feel heavier than others, why your spirit becomes cloudy, why your energy feels drained before noon, you must start with the first and most attacked spiritual area, your mind gate. This is a gate that every chosen one must guard, cleanse, and protect daily, because the mind is the battlefield where the enemy fights hardest. Not because you're weak, not because you're broken, but because your mind is the steering wheel of your destiny. Whatever enters your mind can shape your day. Whatever shapes your day can shape your season. Whatever shapes your season can shape your future. And that is why the enemy doesn't need your body. He needs your attention. He needs your thoughts. He needs your focus. He needs your mental space. Because once he distracts your mind, your spirit becomes easy to attack. But here's what most people don't know. Chosen ones have a spiritual mind, and spiritual minds get targeted first. You're not fighting random thoughts. You're fighting spiritual intrusions, whispers that come out of nowhere, fear that doesn't belong to you, self-doubt you never agreed to, anxiety that appears without reason, overthinking that drains every last drop of your energy. These are not just mental patterns. They are attempted breaches. Your mind is a gate. Everything tries to get inside. Ideas, worries, energy, spirits, memories, future fears, people's projections, emotional residue. This is why the very first area heaven wants you to clean is the mind gate. Let's go deeper. The mind of a chosen one is a spiritual magnet. Have you ever noticed how quickly your mood shifts? How easily you pick up on atmospheres? How one person's energy can drain you entirely? How your mind becomes loud after talking to the wrong people? That's not oversensitivity. That's spiritual sensitivity. Chosen ones are wired differently. Your mind is open enough to hear heaven, but that openness also makes you a target. This is why random people feel comfortable dumping their problems on you. This is why negative people get attached to your energy. This is why manipulative people sense your empathy and try to latch on. This is why certain people want to keep you confused, because clarity would expose them. Your mind is a light in a dark world. That light attracts both angels and attacks. But the truth is this: what enters the mind shapes the spirit, and what shapes the spirit shapes your entire life. So heaven is reminding you today, clean your mind gate every single day, or the world will contaminate it for you. What entered your mind today that does not belong there? Let's get real. Think about the last 24 hours, the conversations you had, the things you watched, the thoughts that crossed your mind, the emotions that weren't even yours. How many of them left a shadow in your mind? A chosen one can be spiritually drained by something as small as a careless comment, someone's jealousy, a negative post, a past memory that resurfaced, fear disguised as logic, overthinking disguised as caution, comparison disguised as motivation, a random wave of sadness, a moment of self-doubt, someone projecting their failures onto you. These are not just thoughts. They are spiritual pollutants. They cling, they linger, they multiply. And if you don't clean them, they turn into anxiety, confusion, heaviness, mental fog, hopelessness, lack of motivation, emotional exhaustion, spiritual disconnection, self-sabotage, procrastination, depression like numbness. Not because you're broken, because your mind is carrying things that were never yours. This is why chosen ones get overwhelmed easily. Your spirit is naturally pure, so impurities hit you faster and harder. But once you clean these impurities, something powerful happens. Your mind becomes light again. Your thoughts become clear again. Your spirit becomes focused again. Your energy becomes stronger again. The enemy fears a chosen one with a clear mind. Let me tell you a spiritual secret. Demons cannot influence a mind that is clean, aligned, and aware. This is why they attack your mind first, not your finances, not your relationships, not your reputation. If they get your mind, they get everything else for free. But when your mind is clean, when you guard your thoughts, when you refuse to let negativity sit in your mental space, the enemy loses his foothold instantly. A chosen one with a clear mind becomes unmanipulable, unshakable, unbothered, unstoppable, spiritually dangerous. Because clarity is power, awareness is power, peace is power, and demons cannot enter a place filled with peace. So, how do you clean your mind gate daily? Heaven is about to reveal it to you, and it's simple but spiritually potent. The daily MINDT cleanse. Here is the spiritual discipline that chosen ones are called to practice every single day. 1. Stillness. Before you let the world into your mind, sit still. Let your spirit settle. Silence every voice except the voice within. 2. Release. Every thought that isn't yours, let it go. Mentally say, "This does not belong to me." You will feel the weight lift instantly. 3. Replace. You cannot empty the mind without filling it again. Replace fear with clarity. Replace doubt with direction. Replace heaviness with truth. 4. Redirect. Your mind follows your focus. Where you place your attention determines what grows within you. 5. Reconnect. Return to your spiritual source. Your peace, your truth, your alignment, your divine identity. Once you do this, the entire atmosphere around you changes. Your mind becomes a temple. Your thoughts become sharp. Your spirit becomes untouchable. And this is only the first spiritual area. There are more, deeper, and even more powerful. Chosen one, if the mind is the battlefield, then your emotions are the weather. They can either bring clarity, or they can cloud everything. They can open doors to divine direction, or they can pull you into spiritual traps you never saw coming. And this is what most people don't understand about chosen ones. Your emotional field is not ordinary. It is sensitive, prophetic, reactive, and highly magnetic. Asterisk, asterisk. You don't just feel emotions. You absorb them. You detect them. You carry them. You mirror them. You respond to them before you even understand why. Your emotional field is spiritually wired, which means it picks up energies, intentions, and atmospheres long before your mind can make sense of them. This is why chosen ones feel everything so deeply. Not because you're dramatic, not because you're weak. It's because your spirit translates emotion as information. But here's the problem. The enemy knows your emotional field is powerful, so he tries to poison it. Let's go deeper. Emotional attacks are not always your own emotions. Chosen one, you must hear this clearly. Not every emotion you feel belongs to you. Some sadness is not yours. Some fear is not yours. Some anger is not yours. Some anxiety is not yours. Some heaviness is not yours. You are spiritually open. Your emotional field naturally receives signals from people, environments, and even unseen realms. This is why you walk into a room and instantly feel uneasy. You talk to someone and suddenly feel drained. You wake up some mornings confused, as if something is pulling on your spirit. You feel tension in places where nothing is wrong. You sense danger before anything happens. You feel heaviness after others argue or vent. You get emotional shifts out of nowhere. These moments aren't random. They are emotional intrusions. Your emotional field absorbs what's around it because chosen ones carry a spiritual radar. It picks up intention. It picks up jealousy. It picks up spiritual warfare in people. It picks up unspoken tension. It picks up lies behind smiles. It picks up spiritual unrest inside others. And when your emotional field becomes contaminated, it reacts through discomfort, mood swings, emotional fatigue, or sudden overwhelm. That's why cleaning this area is not optional. It's survival. The enemy uses emotions as weapons against chosen ones. Let me give you the truth they never teach you. When demons cannot access your mind, they attempt to manipulate your emotions. Asterisk, asterisk. Why? Because emotions influence decisions faster than thoughts. Emotion can override logic. Emotion can distort judgment. Emotion can make illusions feel real. Emotion can make lies feel true. Emotion can pull you into battles that don't belong to you. For chosen ones, the enemy uses emotional warfare like this. 1. Heaviness that comes out of nowhere. A sudden weight on your chest. Pressure behind your eyes. A wave of exhaustion. Even though nothing bad happened, this is a spiritual signal. Your emotional field just got hit. 2. Emotional confusion. You feel something is wrong, but can't explain what. You second-guess yourself. You doubt your intuition. You question your path. Confusion is not an emotion. It is interference. 3. Emotional attachment to the wrong people. Sometimes your emotions latch onto someone not because of chemistry, but because of spiritual manipulation. The enemy can send people whose energy disrupts your emotional field, and you feel something towards them that isn't real. Chosen ones often mistake this for attraction or connection, but it's actually a distraction. 4. Emotional exhaustion after dealing with certain people. Ever talk to someone for 5 minutes and feel like you carried their soul on your shoulders? That's because your emotional field absorbed their energy imbalance. You don't bond with people. You merge energetically. That makes you powerful, but also vulnerable. 5. Feeling responsible for emotions that aren't yours. You feel guilty when others are hurt. You feel sad when someone else struggles. You feel responsible for problems that existed long before you. Chosen ones carry emotional empathy that can be weaponized against them if not cleansed daily. You must clean your emotional field before it becomes a burden. Your emotional field is like a sponge. It absorbs instantly, but it must be run out intentionally. If not, everything it absorbs stays trapped, turning into overthinking, emotional burnout, irritability, spiritual dullness, sadness without reason, emotional numbness, anger that doesn't fit your character, panic attacks, withdrawal, self-sabotage, sudden breakdowns, loss of spiritual clarity. Remember this. Emotions are spiritual indicators, but trapped emotions are spiritual poison. This is why heaven calls you today. Clean the emotional field. Free what is not yours. Let's break this down. The emotional cleanse for chosen ones only. Here is how chosen ones must cleanse their emotional field daily, so it stays powerful, not polluted. 1. Identify what's yours versus what's not. Ask yourself, is this emotion mine? You will feel an instant shift. Your spirit always recognizes the truth. If the emotion weakens, it wasn't yours. If it worsens, your spirit wants to heal something deeper. 2. Release emotional intrusions. Emotions that don't belong to you leave quickly once confronted. Say, return to your source. My spirit releases you. Your emotional field will lighten immediately. 3. Avoid emotional entanglements. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Some people drain you because they need you, not because they value you. Distance is not cruel. It's spiritual hygiene. 4. Breath work plus stillness. A chosen one's emotions respond instantly to breath. Breath is spirit. Breath resets energy. Breath clears disturbances. 5 deep breaths can break emotional warfare faster than anything else. 5. Emotional reconnection. Fill your emotional field with what aligns with your spirit. Peace, purpose, truth, gratitude. Your emotional field becomes unbreakable when it is full of divine alignment. When you clean this area, you become untouchable. Because a chosen one with clean emotions doesn't get manipulated, doesn't carry others' pain, doesn't fall for spiritual traps, doesn't overreact, doesn't get drained, doesn't misread intuition, doesn't run back to toxicity, doesn't lose themselves in other people. Instead, they become aligned, stable, spiritually grounded, emotionally sovereign, energetically powerful. And that's exactly what heaven wants for you. Chosen one, you've already seen how demons try to enter through the mind. You've seen how they attempt to distort and overload your emotions. But there is one final place they invade, the place most people never look. Your environment, your space, your atmosphere, your surroundings, your energetic field. Asterisk, asterisk. This is the area the enemy studies in silence. He watches how you move. He watches where you rest. He watches what you allow in your space. He watches who you allow near your energy. Why? Because your environment is the outer shield of your spirit. And if he cannot break your mind, if he cannot corrupt your emotions, he will try to infiltrate your surroundings. Because what surrounds you eventually shapes you. Chosen one, you must understand this. Your atmosphere determines the frequency of your spirit, and your spirit determines the direction of your life. So the enemy attacks your environment in ways that appear harmless. Small disruptions, subtle chaos, clutter that steals your focus, people that drain your energy, spaces that suffocate your peace, noise that interrupts your clarity. Because the enemy knows what many chosen ones don't. Your environment is not physical, it is spiritual first. Let's go deep. The invisible war in your surroundings. Have you ever wondered why? You feel pressure in certain rooms. You feel drained when you go certain places. You feel restless when you try to rest at home. Your sleep becomes spiritual warfare at night. You feel heaviness sitting in your own room. Your thoughts get louder in one spot but quieter in another. It's because atmospheres carry energy. Some spaces are neutral. Some spaces are healing. Some spaces are draining. And some spaces are spiritually contaminated. Demons cannot just enter you. They must first enter your atmosphere. They linger there, they wait there, they listen there, they whisper there. The spiritual realm always begins around you, before it tries to influence what's inside you. This is why you must guard your environment fiercely, not with fear, but with spiritual intelligence. The enemy enters through 3 types of environments. Let me expose the 3 environmental doors demons use most often. 1. The physical environment. This is a space you live, sleep, work, and exist in. When a chosen one lives in an environment filled with clutter, noise, old trauma objects, unhealthy energy, broken things, unfinished tasks, neglected spaces, your spirit becomes spiritually suffocated. Why? Because everything in your physical space holds a frequency. A messy atmosphere creates internal disorganization. A chaotic room creates mental fog. A cluttered space blocks spiritual flow. Dirty surroundings attract stagnant energy. Your environment is mirroring your spiritual state, and your spiritual state responds to your environment. This is why chosen ones feel lighter after cleaning, calmer after organizing, stronger after decluttering. It's not about neatness. It's energetic alignment. 2. The relational environment. This is the energy of people around you. Some individuals carry peace. Some carry confusion. Some carry anger. Some carry depression. Some carry darkness. Some carry jealousy. Some carry demons they don't even know they have. And chosen ones, because your spirit is open, you feel every hidden thing inside them. But here is the danger. If your environment includes people who spiritually drain you, your energetic field becomes contaminated. Asterisk, asterisk. This is why chosen ones suddenly feel tired after certain conversations, anxious around certain people, irritated without cause, confused after talking to someone, sad for no reason, spiritually heavy. It's not you, it's their energy entering your environment. And if you don't clean it, their spiritual storms become your spiritual battles. 3. The digital environment. This is the one chosen ones overlook the most. Your phone, your social media, your playlist, your videos, your messages, your notifications. Every digital input carries spiritual influence. Some videos carry fear. Some music carries lust. Some content carries confusion. Some messages carry jealousy. Some communication carries spiritual attacks. Chosen one, you must understand, your screen is a spiritual portal. If you don't clean your digital environment, it will silently contaminate your energy, just like any physical or emotional influence. This is why God nudges your spirit sometimes. Mute that, unfollow that, avoid that, delete that, don't open that message, don't watch that video, don't entertain that conversation. Your spirit recognizes contamination before your mind does. How the enemy uses environment against you. Here are the top ways demons attack chosen ones through surroundings. 1. Distraction through noise. Too much talking, too much chaos, too much interruption. Your spirit cannot breathe in noise. 2. Sleep disturbance. Night attacks happen in contaminated atmospheres. If your room feels heavy at night, your spiritual cleanliness must increase. 3. Environmental confusion. When everything around you feels off, your spirit is detecting spiritual interference. 4. Energy from past trauma. Objects or spaces tied to old pain. Hold the memory of that pain and replay it in your atmosphere. 5. People who weaken your energy. Your surroundings become spiritually weak when you allow spiritually unaligned people too close. 6. Chaos that steals divine direction. A messy environment blocks clarity. A dark environment blocks spiritual vision. A toxic environment blocks intuition. Your surroundings can become a spiritual cage if you don't take authority over them. How to cleanse your environment like a chosen one. Here is the path to reclaim your atmosphere. 1. Clean and reset physical space. Chosen ones operate best in clean rooms, open air, sunlight, fresh energy, organized spaces, minimal clutter. Your room is the altar of your spirit. Reset it, restore it, respect it. 2. Remove hidden spiritual residue. Get rid of gifts from people with bad intentions, objects tied to past trauma, anything that feels heavy, anything that makes you uneasy, anything that carries bad memories. Your spirit knows what doesn't belong near you anymore. 3. Limit access to certain people. Distance is spiritual protection. You are not rejecting them. You are protecting your energy. 4. Purify digital inputs. Your soul needs clean content, clean frequency, clean words, clean influence. Unfollow, mute, block, whatever keeps your spirit pure. 5. Invite peace into your space. Peace is not passive. It is a force. Speak it, welcome it, maintain it. Chosen ones create atmospheres, not just live in them. When you clean this area, your power rises. A chosen one with a cleansed environment becomes spiritually unshakable, mentally focused, emotionally grounded, energetically powerful, divinely guided, protected at all times, illuminated in spirit, untouchable by darkness. Your environment becomes your fortress, and your spirit becomes unstoppable. Chosen one, if you've made it to this moment, then hear this truth with every corner of your soul. Your life will not change because you wish for transformation. It will not shift because you wait for a sign, a miracle, or a breakthrough to fall out of the sky. Your destiny begins to activate the moment you cleanse what has been poisoning your spirit. This chapter, this section, this breath you are taking right now, is the moment heaven has been trying to get you to reach. Because the truth is simple but heavy. You cannot carry old energy into a new destiny. You cannot rise while holding on to the weight that was meant to drown you. You cannot walk a divine path with unhealed wounds, unprotected spirit, and unexamined doorways that the enemy uses to enter your life. Listen closely. The cleansing isn't just about removing. It's about returning. Returning to yourself. Returning to peace. Returning to clarity. Returning to the version of you that God designed before the world broke you. Those spiritual areas you've been ignoring, they have been quietly altering your patience, your emotions, your decisions, your relationships, your faith, your connection to God, your ability to hear the divine whisper within. You've been wondering, why do I feel drained? Why do small things shake me? Why does life feel heavier lately? Why does negativity cling to me? Why do I feel disconnected from myself? Because your spirit has been asking, pleading for a reset, and God is telling you right now, you cannot elevate while living in spiritual clutter. Clean it, remove it, release it, detangle it, and watch how quickly peace returns to your bones. The 4 signs your spirit is ready for reset. You'll know it's time because 1. Everything irritates your soul, not just your mind. Your emotions feel stretched thin, and your patience feels borrowed. 2. You sense heaviness even after resting. The body sleeps, but the spirit doesn't. 3. Your intuition has been quieter than usual. Spiritual noise drowns out spiritual instruction. 4. You feel pulled to disconnect from people and habits you once tolerated. This is heaven's way of detaching you from hidden spiritual toxins. These signs do not mean something is wrong with you. They mean something old can no longer survive inside you. The moment you clean, everything realigns. Your mind becomes sharper. Your heart becomes lighter. Your intuition awakens again. Your dreams start making sense. Your purpose starts pulling you forward instead of backwards. Your energy becomes so purified that negativity cannot attach to you anymore. And the enemy knows it. That's why distractions come. That's why temptations rise. That's why people from the past reappear. That's why sudden loneliness hits. That's why emotional storms arrive. Not to destroy you, but to delay the cleansing God commanded. Because the enemy knows, once a chosen one cleans their spiritual areas, nothing can infiltrate them again. You are entering a new spiritual season. A season where God is elevating your discernment. A season where your spiritual vision becomes sharper. A season where your emotional energy becomes sacred. A season where you stop entertaining what drains you. A season where you start walking with an authority even demons recognize. But elevation is impossible without purification. This section is not just information. It is your activation. A holy pause. A divine alarm. A spiritual wake-up call. Because God is saying, clean now, so I can pour into you later. Release now, so I can replace it. Empty now, so I can fill you. Detox now, so nothing unholy can hide in you again. You are not just cleaning rooms of your life. You are cleaning gateways to your destiny. And when a chosen one does that, every force that once attacked them must flee. Every energy that once confused them must dissolve. Every person who once drained them loses access. Every path that once trapped them becomes irrelevant. Every delay breaks. Every spiritual chain snaps. You become untouchable. You become unreachable. you become undefeatable. Because a chosen one with a clean spirit is a chosen one with unstoppable divine flow. Before you scroll, pause. Before your mind drifts, listen. Because this part isn't just a closing message. This is your divine instruction. Chosen one, if something in your spirit stirred while you listened, if your heart felt pulled, if a part of you whispered, "This is for me," then don't let this moment pass like every other. This is the moment God has been waiting to give you. This is the moment your spirit has been trying to reach. This is the moment your destiny stops waiting and starts moving.
Chosen one, you may not realize this yet, but every step you take shakes the unseen world. You wonder why things go wrong right when you're about to rise. Why certain people turn cold for no reason. Why the atmosphere feels heavy when you enter a room. It's not coincidence. It's reaction, spiritual reaction. Because what's inside you terrifies what lives in the dark. You carry something ancient, a light that was breathed into you before you ever entered this body. It's not talent, not luck, not just intuition. It's divine essence, the spark that connects you directly to the source. And every dark force that drifts through this world can feel it before you even speak. That's why the resistance has been personal. The attacks weren't random. They were assigned. Because darkness doesn't waste energy on the ordinary. It targets the extraordinary. But here's the secret that the dark doesn't want you to know. It fears you, it studies you, it tests your patience. It watches how much pain you can carry before you break. Yet even in your weakest hour, you glow. You still pray. You still show kindness when your heart is bleeding. You still believe when there's no reason to. That right there is what terrifies darkness. Listen closely, because this next part will shock you. Every time you refuse to hate someone who betrayed you, that was light overpowering darkness. Every time you got up after failure and tried again, that was spiritual warfare won in silence. Every time you wept but whispered, "God, I still trust you," you caused tremors in the realm that wanted you hopeless. Darkness doesn't fear loud believers. It fears silent warriors, the ones who carry peace into chaos and faith into fear. That's who you are. That's why you've been attacked since birth. Chosen one, the gift inside you is not just light, it's authority. You don't just reflect heaven, you enforce it. You carry the same creative energy that spoke galaxies into being. When you pray, you don't beg, you activate. That's what makes the dark forces tremble. They know you could command them to leave, and they'd have to obey. But here's where many chosen ones fall. They forget their power because pain blinds them. They let heartbreak make them doubt their divine identity. And the moment you forget who you are, darkness feels safe again. That's why it tries so hard to distract you. Because it can't destroy you. It can only make you forget you're indestructible. Stay with me, because the real truth is deeper than this. The heaviness you sometimes feel at night isn't random. The sudden waves of anxiety before a breakthrough, the strange fatigue that hits when you're about to pray, those are signals of interference. The closer you move to your calling, the louder the noise becomes. But remember, noise means fear. Resistance means recognition. The dark only rises when the light it fears is about to shine brighter. So don't panic when the pressure increases. You're not losing, you're becoming. Every storm sent to break you is actually revealing your durability. You've already proven that no darkness can outlast your spirit, because you're still here. You've cried, doubted, screamed, and still you rise. That is divine defiance. That is power. Chosen one, heaven doesn't call the fearless. It calls the faithful. You were never meant to escape the storm. You were designed to command it. And in this battle, you don't fight to prove your strength. You fight to remember it. Chosen one, ever wonder why strange things started happening around you long before you even knew who you were? Why you felt different as a child? Why people reacted to your presence in ways you couldn't explain? It's because the darkness recognized your light before you did. You didn't need to say a word. The energy you carried spoke louder than language. You were marked by heaven, and that mark glowed in the unseen world. Before you understood prayer, your spirit was already speaking. Before you could quote a single scripture, your soul was already known in the spirit realm. That's why, even as a child, you might have felt a strange heaviness at night. You sensed energy in rooms others thought were empty. You had vivid dreams that felt too real. That wasn't imagination, it was spiritual awareness. The light within you made you a signal both to heaven and to forces that operate in shadow. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will make everything you've endured finally make sense. You see, light doesn't hide, even when it tries to. It shines through everything: pain, confusion, rejection, loneliness. And the moment your soul entered this world, darkness took notice. It studied your lineage. It saw the potential that ran through your bloodline, potential that could break generational cycles, heal ancestral wounds, and bring clarity where chaos had ruled. That's why the attack began. Early, it's why you were misunderstood. Why people projected their pain onto you. Why you were surrounded by chaos that wasn't even yours. You weren't cursed. You were chosen, and chosen ones are tested before they're trusted with authority. Listen closely. Dark forces don't waste energy on souls who pose no threat. They only move against those destined to shift the balance. You've felt spiritual resistance, not because you're weak, but because your very existence threatens the systems of fear and illusion. That's why your kindness has been mistaken for weakness, why your empathy exhausted you, why you attract both broken hearts and heavy spirits, because your light pulls what's hidden in others to the surface. You don't just see people, you expose energy, and when darkness hides in someone, your presence makes it uncomfortable. But here's what the dark never expected: that you'd survive every attempt to silence you. Every heartbreak that was supposed to make you cold only purified your love. Every betrayal that was meant to harden you only made you wiser. Every night of tears only watered your roots in God's soil. Chosen one, your endurance confuses darkness. It's tried everything: isolation, pain, distraction, doubt. But somehow you keep finding your way back to light. That's because your spirit carries divine GPS, no matter how far you drift. Heaven always calls you home, and when you awaken, truly awaken, you become what darkness fears most: a conscious light bearer. The power within you is not about religion, it's about resonance. The frequency of your soul aligns with truth. Lies can't stay near you without being exposed. Fake energy can't sit in your presence for long. You're not judging, you're just vibrating higher. And that vibration burns away deception like fire consumes dry wood. Chosen one, do you realize what that means? It means the dark can sense you before you even open your mouth. It knows when you enter a place. It knows your prayers shake structures unseen. That's why it tries to drain your energy through exhaustion, through unnecessary battles, through toxic connections. But listen closely, because this next part will shake you awake. The dark doesn't just recognize your light, it remembers your past victories. It remembers the lifetimes your soul has stood in alignment with heaven's command. It knows that if you ever fully awaken to who you are, it's game over. That's why your awakening feels violent. Because it's not just you rising, it's everything in you that was sleeping. Your authority, your discernment, your power to command peace where there was chaos. And once you step into that power, chosen one, the spiritual world shifts. Darkness stops seeing you as a target and starts treating you as a threat. But we're not done yet. Because in the next part, you'll understand how this divine energy within you actually operates, how to control it, protect it, and use it as your spiritual weapon. Chosen one. You've always felt it, that quiet force pulsing beneath your skin. It moves in waves, like a current of fire that rises when you pray, when you cry, when you feel truth touch your spirit. That's not imagination, that's power. It's the same divine energy the darkness has been trying to suppress since the moment you took your first breath. But here's the secret most never learn. Power without awareness becomes chaos. Awareness without faith becomes fear. The real awakening happens when you finally align both, when you know what's inside you and trust who placed it there. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal is sacred. The light within you doesn't just defend you, it obeys you. It listens to the commands of your belief. Every thought you focus on is a direction. Every word you speak is a key. That's why chosen ones must be careful. Your tongue shapes realms. When you speak with conviction, the unseen responds. That's why darkness works overtime to manipulate your emotions. If it can't touch your spirit, it will try to steer your energy through fear, anger, confusion, or exhaustion. Because when your mind is scattered, your power is diluted. But when your mind is still, when your heart is calm, your words become unstoppable. Stay with me, because this next part will reveal the truth about your divine command. You were never meant to chase peace. You were designed to create it. You were never meant to fear storms. You were chosen to still them. That's what the darkness knows about you. It knows your authority wasn't learned, it was assigned. When you walk into a room, your energy starts to rearrange the atmosphere. Heavy energy begins to lift. Secrets start to reveal themselves. Hearts soften. That's not coincidence. That's your frequency aligning the space with divine order. You are literally the embodiment of balance. But to wield that kind of energy, you must learn 3 disciplines: protection, purity, and purpose. Protection, not from what's outside you, but from what you allow in. The moment you entertain energy that doesn't match your divine vibration, gossip, resentment, fear, you weaken your shield. Your light doesn't fade, but your focus does. That's why you feel drained after certain conversations or around certain people. They're not stronger. They're siphoning your focus. Purity, not perfection. Purity is alignment. It's choosing peace when you could choose revenge. It's forgiving not because they deserve it, but because your soul does. When you hold grudges, your energy clogs. When you release them, your spirit expands. And in expansion, your power flows freely again. Purpose, because power without purpose will turn on itself. You are not chosen to flex spiritual energy for pride. You are chosen to channel it into healing, creation, truth, and freedom. When you use your light for service, heaven refills it endlessly. When you use it for ego, it burns out quickly. Chosen one, you are not waiting for a miracle. You are one. You are the physical manifestation of divine strategy. Every hardship you survived was God refining your spirit so you could carry this much power without collapsing under it. And here's what you need to remember. You don't have to announce your authority. Real power moves silently. Demons, darkness, energy, they recognize it instinctively. When you walk in alignment, your very presence becomes a decree. But there's more. Your awakening comes in layers. The first layer is awareness, realizing who you are. The second is activation, walking like you believe it. The third is ascension, when you no longer react to darkness. You redirect it. You become a conductor of divine current. Your peace becomes your weapon. Your stillness becomes your sword. That's why your trials haven't stopped. Because the higher your light ascends, the more tests arrive to see if you've learned restraint. It's easy to fight darkness with rage. It takes mastery to stand still and let your light handle it for you. Listen closely, chosen one. This next part will open your eyes wider than ever. Chosen one, have you ever felt something heavy press against your spirit? Like invisible resistance that suddenly appears when you decide to do better, to pray more, to create, to forgive. That's not coincidence. It's the echo of old energy trying to remind you of who you used to be. But it can't reach you anymore. Because every time you grow, your spirit crafts new armor, light forged through pain and faith. You see, divine armor isn't given. It's built. It forms with every heartbreak you heal from, every storm you survive. Every time you choose patience when your flesh wants war. Heaven doesn't wrap you in gold. It wraps you in wisdom. Every scar becomes a seal. Every tear becomes a layer of light that darkness can't pierce. But listen closely, because what I'm about to reveal is one of heaven's greatest mysteries. The reason you've felt spiritual warfare increasing lately is not because you're losing power. It's because you're ascending. The air is thinner at higher altitudes. The pressure intensifies before breakthrough. But that pressure is proof that your light is expanding, and your old armor can't contain it anymore. So, heaven begins to rebuild it. Denser, brighter, stronger. And while you feel like you're being attacked, what's actually happening is upgrading. That's why chosen ones go through isolation. Heaven separates you not to punish you, but to fit you for new armor. You can't wear old protection for new missions. Every level demands a sharper mind, a steadier heart, and a quieter soul. You'll notice as your light grows, you fight less. You observe more. You speak less, but your silence carries weight. You no longer chase validation because your discernment has matured. Stay with me, because this next part will open your eyes to how your armor truly works. Every chosen one has 3 shields: faith, frequency, and fire. Faith, your first defense. It's not blind belief. It's spiritual sight. Faith sees the unseen and refuses to bow to fear. When life trembles, faith says, "I've seen worse and survived." Every time you choose faith, you add another plate to your armor. Demons can't decode faith. They understand logic, but faith is divine language. It confuses them. Frequency, your vibration. It's the invisible energy your spirit emits. When you live in gratitude, prayer, and love, your frequency rises beyond reach of low vibrations. That's why you suddenly lose interest in gossip, chaos, or certain people. Their energy can't reach you anymore. You're literally vibrating out of range. Fire, the inner core. This is the essence that darkness fears most. It's not anger. It's holy intensity. It's that unbreakable part of you that keeps burning, no matter what hits it. You felt it during your darkest nights. That whisper that said, "Get up. You're not done." That's your fire. It's ancient, pure, indestructible. It doesn't come from this world, and that's why nothing in this world can extinguish it. Chosen one, when all three, faith, frequency, and fire align, you become untouchable. Your energy doesn't just repel darkness. It repels confusion, fear, manipulation. You stop reacting to attacks because they can't land anymore. They bounce off the light that surrounds you. But here's the part that will surprise you. Your armor doesn't only protect you, it reveals you. Darkness can't fake what you carry. When it meets real divine energy, it exposes itself. People who were pretending suddenly distance themselves. Hidden intentions surface. That's why the closer you move to your calling, the smaller your circle becomes. It's not rejection, it's revelation. Your light is too honest for the dishonest. And this is how you know you've mastered your armor. You no longer seek revenge. You seek clarity. You no longer crave noise. You crave peace. You no longer fight battles that don't threaten your purpose. You've realized that not every energy deserves your response. Some forces only exist to distract you from your next assignment. Chosen one, hear this. The war is not around you anymore. It's beneath you. You've outgrown the level where the dark could reach you. That's why your spirit feels quiet but powerful. It's not that the attacks stopped. It's that they can't access your new frequency. So when you feel sudden calm after chaos, don't question it. That's heaven sealing your armor. You've passed the test. You've proven you can handle peace without needing conflict to feel alive. But listen closely, because in the next and final section, you'll understand what this war was really about. Not just surviving, but rising into your ultimate authority. You'll see how your presence alone commands respect in both realms, and you'll hear one last call. Chosen one, a prophetic reminder that will awaken every dormant gift inside you and seal your spirit in divine purpose forever. Chosen one, there's something you need to understand before you take your next breath. You don't just walk with light. You are light. You carry heaven's signature inside you, and every dark spirit that crosses your path recognizes it before you even speak. That's why people stare at you without knowing why. That's why rooms fall silent when you walk in. They can't explain it, but their spirit knows something divine just entered. Demons don't fear your name. They fear your alignment. They fear what you represent. A soul that refused to die in the fire, and instead became it. You've been through storms that should have ended you. Nights when your own thoughts tried to bury you. Moments when even your faith cracked. But each time, something unexplainable pushed you forward. That was God molding your endurance, chiseling your strength, and teaching you one of the most sacred truths. You can't destroy what heaven designed for battle, and this, right here, is the reason the attacks felt so personal. Demons don't waste energy on the ordinary. They invest in stopping the extraordinary. The fact that you've been targeted so intensely means heaven placed something in you worth fighting for, a calling that shakes dimensions. You were never in a random war. You were in the war, the one between light and darkness. And heaven trusted you with a key part of the mission. Look back for a moment. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every delay, all of it trained your discernment. You no longer chase what glitters, because you've learned to recognize what glows. That's why you can't be deceived the way you once were. Your spirit now sees behind smiles, hears truth inside silence, and feels danger before it speaks. You are not paranoid. You are prophetic. The world will try to convince you you're overthinking, but what you're doing is overhearing. You catch whispers in the spirit realm that others can't detect. That's not a curse, it's command. Heaven gave you that sensitivity so you could lead, not blend in. But here's what darkness never expected. Every time it attacked you, it was actually pushing you deeper into your assignment. Every rejection redirected you. Every wound refined you. And now, you've become what terrifies demons most, a healed, awakened chosen one who knows their power. Listen closely, because this is the moment heaven wants you to remember. You don't have to fight like before. You've shifted from warfare to authority. You no longer beg for peace, you command it. When you say enough, the atmosphere responds. When you pray, realms rearrange. When you speak light, shadows have no choice but to retreat. Because your words are not just sounds. They are frequencies backed by divine permission. Chosen one. Your presence itself is warfare. Peace disarms chaos. Your kindness confuses demons. Your consistency breaks curses. Your worship shakes foundations. Hell thought were eternal. You don't have to prove who you are anymore. Your fruit already did. And maybe you don't even realize it yet. But the reason you're still breathing after everything that came against you is because you already won. The battle was never to destroy you, it was to wake you up. Heaven didn't choose you because you were perfect. Heaven chose you because you wouldn't quit. And now, after all the trials, isolation, and tears, you've reached the place you were meant to, the awakened stage. That's where the real mission begins. From here forward, you don't walk timidly. You walk as an ambassador of light. You no longer apologize for being too intense, too spiritual, or too sensitive. You carry power that this generation desperately needs. And when you speak, you break illusions, awaken others, and remind them of who they are. So the next time you feel that familiar darkness watching, don't shrink. Smile, because now you know the truth. It's afraid of you, not because of what you did, but because of what you carry, because you reflect heaven's fire. And fire always remembers its origin. You were never cursed. You were called. You were never weak. You were weaponized by love. You were never losing. You were learning. This is your season to walk in authority, to finally live as who you truly are. So lift your head, chosen one, straighten your shoulders. The war is over. The throne awaits. Now say it with me, not as a wish, but as a decree. I am covered. I am chosen. I am unstoppable, and the heavens echo back. It is done, chosen one. If this message touched your spirit, it is a no coincidence. It was meant for you. Heaven is speaking through this moment, reminding you of who you are and the power you carry. Subscribe now, because every video here is designed to awaken the chosen one inside you. Turn on notifications, don't miss a single revelation, a single strategy, a single prophetic message that could unlock your next level of authority. Comment below if you feel your power rising, and share this with another chosen one who needs to hear this truth. Remember, you are not ordinary. You are not weak. You are called, you are chosen, and the darkness must bow to the light within you. Stay ready, stay aligned, and walk boldly in your divine assignment.